Oh shoot, I'm live. Crap. What's going on? Happy Friday, guys. Excuse my voice. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Sabby Sab Show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. So excited to see you guys. I'm officially on winter break. I am pumped for that. I have more time to finish my articles that I need to do for Roundtable. I've been waiting for this break. I've been waiting for this break. I want to give shout out to people in the chat. What's going on? Aspen Fallen says, I love the double Sabby Fridays. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Double Sabby. Shout out Dolores Pierce says, hello, everyone sharing. Oh, thank you so much, Dolores. What's going on, Lawrence? Always great to see you. Doobie doo. Shout out Eric Thomas says, Friday, we made it. Woohoo, celebration. Of course. Oh, man, this is a much needed break, you guys. You have no idea. Like, literally no idea. What's going on, Saul Good says, Scat Man. Oh, yeah. I was kind of just singing to myself. And then I forgot. Like, I hit the live button and I totally forgot I hit the live button. And I was just like, doop, 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 doop. Yeah. Embarrassing moment. Good thing you didn't hear me say anything else. God knows. Good grief. Valerie said it sounded great, Sabby. Oh, thank you so much. Eric says we heard that. If you only could see what goes on behind the scenes, that would be a pretty funny show. Like if I did like a bloopers like stream or something, like a clip where you guys see like the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, I could show you my setup. That's laughable. That's laughable on its own, actually. What's going on? Henry Covert says, hey, Sabby. Shout out to Eric Gray says, what's up, everybody? The People's History of Us says Joe Manchin has no integrity. He left out the, he or she, excuse me, left out the N. Not even integrity, just integrity. What's going on? Cape Socialist says, hi, Sabby. Hello to you too. Greetings. Greetings, Terry Conley says, hello, everyone. Gore, son of none, says, so happy to be with y'all tonight. My baby Geo and I are happy to see you, Miss Sabs. Well, hello, baby Geo. Cute name. What's going on? Mad Scientist says, hey, Sabby, hello, everyone in the chat. Greetings, Mad Scientist. And what is going on, Danielle? Always a pleasure. Hello. All right, guys, today has been an interesting day. I don't know why this has happened again, but it has happened again to me. I'm getting to the news stories in just a second, but I got to get this out. It's going to bother me all night. When I was at work earlier today, we were talking about 90s music, and like somebody mentioned that song, Return of the Mac. And I was like, not that again, not again. Because I had it stuck in my head like a month or so ago. And then just like that song was stuck back in my head. So once again, all day long, I've just been hearing Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac is one of those things where like I'm going to have to play that song just to get it out of my head. And those are the only words I know in that song because I can't really understand the other things he's saying. Man. Danny said you lied to me. Oh, that's right. There's another part I understand. You lied to me. You lied to me. But I do. And that part too. I don't know if he had another hit. I only know that song and I don't remember the singer's name. What was his name? Man. I'm terrible with that. I am terrible with that. Let's go ahead and get into the news. Now, I have two things I want to talk about. One of them is Nancy Pelosi's cringe comment. So she made a comment in a press conference that is very problematic. Obviously, I do not agree with what she said. I'm going to get into that. And we're also going to we're going to talk about Build Back is delayed. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I told you so. All right. So, Mark Morrison. Yes, that's his name. That's his name. Turn of the Mac. Man, they really overplayed that song. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. I think I'm going to start with the Build Back Better delayed. Man, this one again, when we saw progressives outside dancing with the Bill mascot celebrating as if something was all set and done, I told you guys back then they should not be celebrating because it still has to pass in the Senate. It has gone to the Senate. And here's where we're at now. Let me go ahead and share my screen. You lied to me. It's stuck. All right. Biden concedes Build Back Better bill won't get past this year. Imagine that. Imagine that. Here we go. President Joe Biden acknowledged on Thursday that negotiations over his Build Back Better bill are poised to drag on into 2022, despite efforts and pledges by Democrats to get it done before Christmas. You know what they were able to get done before Christmas? They were able to give the Pentagon $768 billion. They managed to do that pretty quickly. That passed just like that. And this is why I tell people, Democrats and Republicans, they're the same freaking party. Look how quickly they came together on that. Moving on, it takes time to finalize these agreements, prepare the legislative changes, and finish all the parliamentary and procedural steps needed to enable a Senate vote. Didn't need all that for the Pentagon. He said that he spoke to Democratic leaders in Congress, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer earlier Thursday, and they plan to advance this work together over the days and weeks ahead. Leader Schumer and I are determined to see the bill successfully on the floor as early as possible. With the holidays approaching and the Senate eager to leave town on Friday, and that was me today. However, a vote isn't likely until after New Year's Day. Imagine that. The statement is a recognition that the president's team has so far failed to persuade Senator Joe Manchin to sign on to anything resembling the $1.75 trillion social spending and climate mitigation bill passed by the House of Representatives last month. In these discussions, Senator Manchin has reiterated his support for Build Back Better funding at the level of the framework plan I announced in September. This is coming from Biden. I believe that we will bridge our differences and advance the Build Back Better plan, even in the face of fierce Republican opposition. Now, I want to come out for just a second because I want to say something about that I think is really interesting. Now, Joe Biden is telling you that he thinks that he can work together with Joe Manchin and they can reach some type of an agreement, some type of compromise here. It's kind of funny, though, because when Biden was running for president, what did CNN and MSNBC say? Biden can work across the aisle. That was a message that they drove out to us over and over again. That hasn't seemed to be working out too well for Joe Biden working with Republicans. They're pretty much shooting down a lot of the things that he's proposing. So this whole working across the aisle thing is obviously not working. So that wasn't true. But what's funny about that is that here's someone, Joe Manchin, who's a part of the same party as Joe Biden, and he can't even work with him. So now essentially you have Joe Biden not being able to work with people in his own party. Now, I brought this up a long time ago when I mentioned the fact that you have people in the Democratic Party working against people in the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party is not together. Joe Manchin has his own agenda. A lot of times he's voting against what the Democrats want. Kirsten Sinema has her own agenda. Same thing, voting against what some of the Democrats want. And then you have the progressives who, God knows what they're trying to do, but they're not doing the things that they ran on. They're not holding the line. They're not forcing the vote. So essentially, you have a party that is not working together. And if they are not working together, how are they going to get things passed? Say what you want about Republicans, but they seem to be working together. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is in some ways what we hoped the squad would be, not the craziness, but in the sense that she is willing to force the vote on things, in the sense that she is willing to be very outspoken, that she doesn't bite her tongue, and she really doesn't care what other people in her party have to say about her. And here's something I want you to notice. Notice how, even when she makes these statements, a lot of times other Republicans in the House and in the Senate, they back her. That's not happening with the squad. That's not happening with Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. So the Democratic Party is a divided party. And this is why I tell people the whole idea of bringing in progressives to take over the party. How are you going to take over a party that, number one, you are not in a position of power in? You're coming in, you are pretty much a minority in this party in DC, because the majority of the people in the House and the Senate are establishment Democrats. So you already at a disadvantage, but then to go along with that, you're coming into a party that is fractured. They're not even on the same page. Going back to the article, I just think, this is something that we need to talk about more, because they keep saying that these things are possible without mentioning the obvious, that a lot of us who are watching this are noticing that the Democratic Party is not together. They are not together. All right, let's go back into that article. Doobie 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 doo. All right, so where was I? Let's go down here. Okay. My team and I are having ongoing discussions with Senator Manchin that work will continue next week. The drawn out negotiations come at a vulnerable moment for the Biden presidency after months of anemic polling. Anemic. The White House remains confident they will get a deal eventually, but it is almost certain to be far short of their original ambitions, which is what I told you would happen, which included trillions more in spending and, among other things, free community college nationwide. Let's go down. By the way, they had already, the free college thing, they didn't really want that to go anyway. That was one of the first things they wanted to take off the list, that and paid parental leave. It's unclear how much longer the negotiations will go on. Manchin has said that he believes many of the short-term programs in the House bill are budget gimmicks that hide the true cost of the bill. He has urged colleagues to include only 10-year programs in the final legislation to match the 10-year window on tax revenues. Manchin and Biden spoke twice on the phone this past week to try to find a way forward on the legislation, but they remain far apart. The White House has treated the Manchin relationship delicately and with more carrots than sticks. Biden has been careful not to put much external pressure on Manchin through public criticism. Okay. Though his frustration has been growing. The president's delicate approach has proven slow but effective, ultimately securing Manchin's votes for the other large parts of Biden's agenda, including the American Rescue Package and the $550 billion infrastructure bill that earned bipartisan support. Biden is also limited by the fact that many of the traditional levels of power, potential primary challenges, or pledges of presidential support are less effective with Manchin, given that he is the only Democrat in the Senate to have won in a state that former President Donald Trump also won by 40 points. And that should tell you something right there as well. So Essentially, the Senate has chosen to delay this bill. It is not going to pass before Christmas. They're going to revisit it in 2022. Eh, I don't think it's going to stay the same. And I thought it was a weak bill to begin with anyway. I thought they should have trashed the bill. But I believe that more items are going to be removed from this bill. So just prepare yourself for that. By the time they are done with it, this bill isn't going to be worth 2 cents. That's just how I feel. So the Senate has chosen to focus on voting rights instead of this bill. Whenever it comes to giving money to the American people, they can always seem to find a way to put that aside or to delay it or to just not do it. But whenever it comes to giving money to the military industrial complex, they can do it just like that. And this goes back to what Marcus and I were talking about on my channel about a week ago. We did a segment called, Is There a Problem with FDR? And in that segment, we went on to talk about the class issue, about who is really in charge and who is running things in this country. And I've said this time and time again, that there are people above the president. So I pulled up a picture. I'll see if I still have it. Do I still have that picture? Chances are I don't. Do I still have that picture? Chances are I don't. But you know who does? Holland does. I don't know what I did with that picture. I'll see if I can find it. But anyway, I pulled up a picture that shows the feudal system that we've had. And it shows what it was like in the past compared to what it is today. And it's the same. Now, some of the names have changed in reference to classes, but it's the same. And what you'll see on that picture is that where it says elected officials, you would think that someone like the president would be at the top, but the president is actually in the middle. Above him, Fortune 500 companies, above them, banks like JP Morgan, above them, the federal bank. So at the end of the day, it's all about the money. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why things don't get done. This is exactly why we continue to fight for the same issues every election cycle. And then there are other issues that they'll throw in to distract us so that we are not paying attention to the monetary issues, the ones that will benefit us, the ones that will help us. This is very important for people to understand. You have to share this information with as many people as possible. Because when people go out to vote for the two-party system, every presidential election, they really think they're making a difference. They're not. It's one party. Both of them serve corporate interests, not the American people. It's been this way for a long time, and it will continue to stay that way until we get the money out. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to pull up that picture. Sabby's gonna do it. Sabby's gonna do it. Sabby's gonna do it. I am going to do it. Thanks to Canva. By the way, if you guys have never used Canva, you should. It is my friend. Found it. I wonder if it'll let me. I'll download it. Downloading the picture. All right, I got it. You guys are going to get tired of me singing on here. One of these days, you're like, will somebody please tell that girl to be quiet? She cannot sing. Okay. Sharing my screen now. I want to show you this picture just in case you didn't have a chance to see that episode. This is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we need to be paying attention to. Feudalism then and now. Medieval feudalism, if you'll notice, you'll see the monarchs are at the top. Landed gentry, clergy, royal ministers, merchants, vassals, and everyone else is at the bottom. And that was peasants, laborers, etc. Let's move over to the modern era here, where we have corporate feudalism. At the very top, Central bankers, Federal Reserve, Bank of Japan. You guys see this? Below them, big bankers, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Lloyd's. Let's go down to the third level, corporate elite. These are the Fortune 500, the millionaires, people like what's his name? Millionaires, billionaires, people like Elon Musk, people like what's his name? Oh, Bill Gates. I couldn't remember his name. That is bad. That is not good for Bill. Bill Gates, people like that, the corporate elite. Now, a lot of times when you hear people talk about getting money out of politics, they stop right here at the corporate elite. Everybody mentions Jeff Bezos. Everybody mentions the Waltons who own Walmart. That's where it stops, though. Most people don't go above that and mention the big bankers and the central bankers. Below the corporate elite is elected officials. What does this tell you, ladies and gentlemen? There's a picture of Obama. President, MPs, representatives. They're all the way down here. Below them are top bureaucrats. Below bureaucrats are top professionals. So even people who are professionals, they may be like a consultant, maybe they're making six figures. They still are just right above the majority of us, which is everyone else. Workers, students, soldiers. The majority of us are at the bottom. And even some of these people who are top professionals, who are making six figures, they are kind of close with us too. Everyone needs to be paying attention to the banks. They're the ones who have, you got to understand, JP Morgan could make Jeff Bezos look like a peasant. So the money that Jeff Bezos has is nothing compared to what JP Morgan has. You understand what I mean? That's important. Now you have to ask yourself, why is it a lot of times, even on the left, when we talk about getting the money out, why do we stop at the corporate elite? Why? Why don't we mention the banks? Because let me tell you something, the banks, they're going to make sure they don't go broke. They're going to make sure they get their money. Even if that means that Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates have to lose theirs. At the end of the day, those gentlemen are just errand boys. This is why you should watch RBN. This is why you should watch RBN. Here we go. Bill Bradley says JP Morgan is a group. Bezos has more than any individual member of JP Morgan. JP Morgan is a group, but who started JP Morgan? Look into the family. Look into the family. That wealth has been passed down. Eric Thomas said banks can create money, #MMT, but they won't. Why is that? Why is that? Omar said the banks are running the show. Always, always. Let me tell you something. I'm going to say something a little funny. But he actually had a point when he said this, so I just want to get into this really quick. Did you know, James Brown used to say some funny things back in the day. James Brown also has some issues. He liked to hit women. But one of the things that James Brown said, he said that you should take your money and bury it in the ground. That came from James Brown, who was very wealthy. My dad always told me, you should always make sure that you have some money on the side that you can get to in the event something happened with the bank. And I'll give you an example where something did happen with the bank. A couple years ago, I was with Bank of America. They're crooks and not anymore. I was with Bank of America. They had a glitch. All of a sudden, you couldn't get any money out. I couldn't use my card. I couldn't like use it at the store. I couldn't get money out of the ATM. And Bank of America sends this email to everybody saying that basically their services are down. So I physically went to the bank, to Bank of America, to the tellers and said, "Hey, I can't take any money out. Something's going on with the cards. I'm going to have to take out money right here from the bank." Couldn't do that either. Now, luckily, I wasn't by myself. I was with, at the time, he wasn't my husband then, but at the time he was my boyfriend. And luckily, he just happened to have cash on him. I did not. And I was notorious for that, never having cash on me. And my dad always said, you should always have cash put aside somewhere in the event something happens with the bank. That was a scary day. And that really woke me up. And I was like, wow, they really do control. They have so much control. Just like that, with that one card that I have, I was powerless for 24 hours. I left Bank of America after that. But yeah, apparently they had some fraudulent activity that happened with Bank of America cards through Target and other stores. And so they basically restricted it and didn't notify people till after the fact. Like, I only found out initially because I tried to use my card. Later on, they sent the email, but shouldn't you have alerted us first? That made me feel so powerless. That made me realize they have so much control. Maybe James Brown was right about that. I don't know. Gore, son of none, says we lose as long as we play the money game. We need a resource-based economy now. The 1% biggest win was not winning the game. It was fooling us to believe we have a chance to win. Well said. Well said. That's a good point. Eric said social credit system will be the next level. Oh, man. Thanks so much for the super chat, Zolette. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Look into Catherine Austin Fitts hashtag Cash Friday movement. I will check that out. Thank you so much for the super chat. Gene said, notice that none of the media report on the successful strikes or uprisings of people around the world. I wonder why that is. That's a good, that's a good point that you just brought up, Gene. And the reason why I say that is because they're telling us about what's happening here. Like, they're telling us about the Kellogg strike. We heard about the John Deere strike. I've shown those on my show as well. But I didn't see, and I could be wrong, but I did not see mainstream media talk about the general strike that happened in South Korea. Why don't they want us to know that people are doing that abroad? Because they don't want us to get ideas. All about control. It's all about control. Going to some of the comments in the chat. A tree said they are planning a meltdown of the financial system. They just ran a test. I mean, it's really scary to know that someone can have that amount of control over you. What would you do if you can't access your money? What do? We don't barter. We have to use money to get things. We have to use money to get food. What would you do? There was another example. Good Lord. That was my mouse. There was another example where I felt like I lost control. And that was when the Boston Marathon bombing happened. I was here for that. That week later on, I got up to go to work, got out of the shower. My husband said, I don't think you're going to be going to work today. I was like, why? What's up? He had on the news. I don't turn on the TV when I get ready in the morning. It's a big distraction for me, but I guess he got a text message and then he turned on the TV, and lo and behold, that was when they were on the manhunt for the Boston Marathon bombers. And they shut us down, like completely shut us down. So I put on clothes and then I walked outside and the whole city was like a ghost town. The only people you saw outside were police. It was scary. It felt like I was in a movie. Didn't feel real. The businesses were shut down. Like it was a ghost town. We were told to stay inside because at that point he had been on the run and they were trying to find them. So that was a really tough time. Like it's still kind of hard for me to talk about it because that was another time where I felt like I just lost a lot of control because everything was just shut down like that and we didn't have a warning. Like it just I like literally I woke up that morning and it was like boom. I didn't have a chance to go to the grocery store. And so the first thing I started thinking was how am I going to get food? And that scared me. And we were locked down for hours. Like we were just sitting there watching the news to see if they would catch him because once they would catch him, then they would lift the lockdown. I think they caught him at about, it was almost 11 o'clock that night. And they said the lockdown is over. They caught him in Watertown. And I know some of you are like, what's a Watertown? And we were free. And we met up with some of our friends that night to like just celebrate the fact that they got him and we were free. But that was another time when I realized just how much control you can lose, especially when you don't really have any power. I should do a whole nother like episode about that, about what that was like, that whole experience with like the Boston like marathon and stuff. Like I said, till this day, it's still kind of hard for me to talk about it because it was just such a scary time. Such a scary time. I'm going to go into the next story. And this is about Nancy Pelosi. Now, she made a statement. Ay, ay, ay. Nancy. Girl, you have a lot of people mad at you, even corporate media. So here we go. Nancy Pelosi doesn't think that members of Congress should be banned from trading stocks. This is a problem, ladies and gentlemen. At a press conference on Wednesday, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said that lawmakers and their spouses shouldn't be barred from trading stocks. I'm going to show you that video in just a second. It is not illegal for members of Congress to trade stocks, but Pelosi was responding to a question from Insider, which released an investigation on Monday revealing that 49 members of Congress and 182 congressional staffers were late to disclose personal stock trades, which is a violation of federal conflict of interest laws. The Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act, also known as the Stock Act, was signed into law in 2012 to prevent insider trading among congressional lawmakers and their senior staff. It requires them and their family to disclose stock sales or purchases within 45 days. That's important. Some lawmakers have openly denounced aspects of stop trading among Congress members. Last week, AOC called the idea of lawmakers trading individual stock ludicrous, and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren criticized the brazenness of the lawmakers who were caught violating federal disclosure law. I'm pretty sure those aren't the only laws that they violate. Let's just be real here. Let's just be real. The access and influence we have should be exercised for public interest, not our profit. Now, that's from AOC on Twitter. On Thursday, people took to Twitter to react to Pelosi's comment. This is the wrong answer. Now, that's from Kai, host of NPR, Business and Economy show. Good grief, no, she's wrong. She's 100% wrong, from Walter Schwab, who's the former director of the U.S. Office of Government and Ethics. And I'm going to go ahead and play that video for you so you can hear her yourself, ladies and gentlemen. When she said this, I saw this video. I was like, oh, she's really going to get ratioed for that one. They're really going to get her for that one. I don't know what she was thinking. Maybe she was short on ice cream, but that was really not a good move. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Let me mute my mic so I don't have echo. So here we go.
Madam Speaker, Insider just completed a 5-month investigation finding that 49 members of Congress and 182 senior congressional staffers have violated the Stock Act, the insider trading law. I'm wondering if you have any reaction to that. And secondly, should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review. But if people aren't reporting, they should be. Because this is a free market and we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that. Yes, ma'am.
There you go. You heard it yourself. This is a free market economy. Nancy Pelosi is a capitalist. Boom, just right out there. She says she's not familiar with that report. I find that hard to believe. I find that really hard to believe. She thinks that's okay. Other people have chimed in about this. It's not good. It's not good. Mainstream media is even criticizing Nancy Pelosi. Even MSNBC, ladies and gentlemen. That's when you know you're really, oh man. Here we go. I'm going to mute my mic.
Investments. But you got to walk me through this. When you're the CEO of a publicly traded company, there are all sorts of restrictions on what you can do. When you work in an investment bank, when you work as an investor, so many restrictions when it comes to personal investments. But these people, lawmakers, these are policymakers, policies that directly influence the way business is done all over the country. How is this even remotely legal?
This was one of the most disappointing and maybe, to put it even less politely, disgraceful comments and views I have heard espoused on this issue, and surprising given Pelosi's views on many other issues.
I just want to chime in here for a second. He says it's disgraceful. Again, this is MSNBC people. This is not, the Sabby Sabs podcast. Like this is MSNBC. And he says it's disgraceful, but he says it's surprising. I don't find it surprising at all. I think this is who Nancy Pelosi is. I don't think she thought about what she said until maybe after she said it, but I don't really think she thought before she spoke here. But this is exactly who she is. Now, the mask is off for everybody to see, including liberal media. You knew Fox News was going to come after her. They're on the right. They're going to attack liberal. But now you have liberal corporate media attacking her as well.
We have insider trading laws for a reason. CEOs, executives cannot trade. Members of the Federal Reserve now cannot trade.
Notice what you heard there, Federal Reserve.
And yet we are allowing our politicians who do have access to inside information. They are often briefed regularly about all sorts of things that are about to happen, and that they have a meaningful influence on what is about to happen, and they are trading. To the extent that politicians should want the public to trust them, this undermines every bit of trust. It goes to every worst expectation of corruption, and it's not even expectation, it's real.
What would I say to Nancy Pelosi right now? Nancy, you know you done fucked up, right? You know you fucked up, right? You guys should watch the movie Menace to Society. A lot of people I talk to don't know about that movie. You should watch that movie. That's where that line is from. When the detective is questioning the main character and he starts to stumble with his story, starts to say a couple things that were different from what he said in the first time he talked to him. And the detective talking to him is just calm as can be. And he just looks at him and he goes, you know, you fucked up, right? It's one of my favorite lines from that movie. One of my favorite lines. Yes, that's his name, Bryce. Bill Duke. Yep. Absolutely. That's his name. I forgot his name. Thank you for the reminder. But yeah, look, if MSNBC is telling you you're in the wrong and your liberal politician who they usually prop up and they usually support and back, they're coming after you. I don't know if she's going to issue a statement after this or not, but she basically just pulled the cover off of the corruption. She basically let everybody know that this is okay. Even though you have that report that shows that congressmen and congresswomen were doing this and they were violating the law. And Nancy Pelosi just told you it's okay because it is a free market. She's a capitalist. It's all about the money. All about the money. Exactly, Eric. Nancy done said the quiet part out loud. You weren't really supposed to say that. No. It is time for Nancy to retire. And that's another question I have for you guys, and maybe someone can answer this in the chat. Why do you think some of these congressmen and women, some of these senators, why do they stay past retirement age? Why do they continue to hold these seats and prevent other people from coming in? Why? Do you really want to be like 80 years old, flying back and forth to DC, traveling all the time and having to live in 2 different places at 80? You still want to do that? Way past retirement. Way past retirement. Kevin said they are all doing this out in the open now because they know we are not going to do anything about it. Show them they are wrong, please. I mean, she really just let even though I knew that anyway, you have a lot of people who only watch mainstream media. That's it. Did not know that. So, Danielle said power is a hell of a drug. They're all addicted. It's true. It is true. This is so true. Thanks so much for the super chat, Justin. Super tat. I don't even know what that is. If mainstream media, which is owned by the ruling class, is throwing Nancy under the bus, you have to wonder what their real agenda is. Maybe they're getting ready to replace her with AOC. You know what, Justin? I could see that happening. Mainstream media has been really nice to AOC lately. Have you noticed that? CNN did that whole special about her. They didn't want to do a special about her when she was running. In fact, they didn't even want to tell you who she was. I found out about her because of independent media, not because of them. But she's been playing their game, so now they can prop her up. They can promote her. That's how it works. Thanks so much for the super chat, Justin. That's a very good point. Joy Duncan said the same with Dianne Feinstein, who has cognitive decline, and she is older than Nancy. Retire already. Enjoy your millions and your grandkids. That's what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Look, at that age, you know what I want to do? I want to be spending time with my family. I don't want to be going back and forth to DC. Like, travel can put wear and tear on you. I'm just serious. Like, people have to travel all the time for work. It really can wear your body down. Aya said, oh yeah, Sab, since she was on The View and the Mama Bear quote. Yep. Don't even get me started on The View, Aya. Oh man, don't even. Neil said they are all tripe. Makes not a jot which of them are in which office. Makes not a jot. I don't know what a jot means, but maybe a difference, which one of them are in office. But yeah, it's true. It's true. Desert Mantis said they need a 65-year-old max for government officials. This woman is from a political dynasty, basically. Her father was a politician in Baltimore. Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, is also, I think he's her nephew. Nephew, right? He's related to her by marriage, I believe. They are propping up her daughter to come in after her. I don't know. Gup said term limits would be helpful also. I agree, Gup. I agree. And that's one of those things I think that, you know, Dems could push for. They're not going to, obviously, because that would affect them. But the term limit thing, I feel the same way about the Supreme Court. They need to have what is it? Lifetime appointment? Like, what job do you have? Like, where you? I live in a, I don't know if you want to call it right to work, but employment at will state, which means that they can fire you and not necessarily have just cause doing so. In fact, whenever I've applied for a job, there's all that information you have to read in the beginning through the HR orientation. They can let you go at any time and not really necessarily have a reason. But you can become a Supreme Court judge and you can just have a lifetime appointment. You have a job for life. You're just set. Like, I don't understand it. Carney said Pelosi's dad was a multi-millionaire commercial real estate developer in DC to Baltimore corridor. Here you go. Money, 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 money. She also had a relationship with the Kennedys too. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. But a lot of these like political dynasties, these families, they're connected. Even in politics, it's about who you know. About who you know and what you're willing to do so that you can get to where you want to get in your political career. Not really so much about helping the people. It's about helping the people who have the money, helping the corporations, helping the elites. It's about you doing their bidding so that you can go where you want to go. Cam said, I would love to be a Supreme Court judge, free money for life. This is crazy. It really is like lifetime appointment. Really? Why? Doesn't make any sense. Ogre said Pelosi's dad was well connected to crime families. But I heard that about JFK too. It's interesting. It is very interesting. I don't know, you guys. Something I do want to show you as well. Because this, like, people are attacking her like all over. Like, if you go online, it's bad. It's just oh, I don't want to show you that one. That one's not good. Sorry. I'll just share my screen so I can just show you how this is coming across to people, because she is taking a hit for this one. Look, Market Watch. Pelosi defends stock trading by lawmakers and their spouses. We are a free market. Intelligencer. Nancy Pelosi is wrong about trading stocks in Congress. Yahoo Finance. Nancy Pelosi doesn't think that members of Congress should be banned from trading stocks. Fox News, of course, I know is going to come after her. CNBC. It goes on and on. Business Insider, Daily Mail, Esquire, KOMO News. Like, and that's just the first page. So she's taking a hit. Stephanie said her husband runs a venture capital firm. Of course. Of course he would. Oh man, oh man. I saw someone said something earlier about Julian Assange. I do want to touch on that for just a little bit. I have to be careful of what I say. But I just want to, go on record and say, I think most people know this anyway, but for those who don't know, I want to go on record to say that I think is absolutely a shame what is happening to him. I want people to truly understand that press freedom is really important. That when I tell you that I'm against censorship, I'm against censorship. Whether I like what someone's platform has to say or not, people should not be kicked off. People should not be jailed for reporting the truth. And I want to be very clear here because I've seen a lot of people over the past couple years smear him. Now, all of a sudden, some of those same people are trying to act like they're supporters when they spent years smearing him. Years smearing him. We have a right to know what's going on. We have a right to know what the military industrial complex has been doing. He revealed that. No one should be tortured. Period. I don't agree with torture. I don't agree with the death penalty. That is what they are doing to him. That is what they've done to him. They have tortured him. Joe Biden won't even talk about it. He was at a press conference. He was asked that question. He walked off the stage. They don't want people to know. People need to know. Do you know how many people I've spoken to and I've mentioned Julian's name? They don't even know who he is. They didn't even know about it. They didn't know this was happening. And this is why I try to tell you guys, the left is not big. We are small. Most people do not watch independent media. Most people are not watching these our shows and stuff on YouTube. Most people don't even know we exist. Most people don't even know what TYT is. That might have been a bad example, but you know what I mean. They're one of the larger networks, but most people don't know what that is. This is why it's important that we have to share this information. When they talk about it in mainstream media, they're going to talk about Julian in a negative light because their role is to protect government interest. That's their role. Their role isn't really to tell us the truth. How many times has MSM lied to us and been caught in those lies and still wouldn't even retract them? This is what I want people to understand. Their role is not to tell us the truth. Their role is to tell us the narrative that they are told to tell us. You got to think about who owns the TV station. It goes far beyond MSNBC and CNN. Who owns it? You have to look into Viacom. You have to go above that. So I'll just say this. I do not have a problem what Julian did. I'm glad that information got out. I'm glad we know. We need to know. Because they lie to us over and over again. It's a constant thing. They hide the truth. And we need to know what's going on. And anybody who calls themselves a leftist or a progressive, if you're against that and you think what is happening to him is okay, you are not on the left. You're not. You're liberal. Just go ahead and call yourself that and accept it. No one should have to go through that. Now, what I want people to understand, because I've seen a lot of people attacking Julian like activists. I see this a lot on Twitter. What you have to understand is that what is happening to him, that affects all of us. That affects press freedom. There may not be a Sabby Sabs podcast. There may not be a RBN. This goes deep. If they can do this to us, if they can do that to him, you got to understand. This is someone who's a journalist. And if you're going to have the guts to do that, then you need to be able to stand at the podium and answer those questions about him, which Joe Biden did not do. He walked away from it. Can't talk about that. No, let's not go down that road. Must keep people distracted with other things like Trump, 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 Trump. This is why most people that I talk to don't even know who Julian is. We have to educate them. We have to let them know. But it was really funny to me seeing some of these people who spent all these years smearing him now all of a sudden trying to act like they've been supporting him all along. No, let me make something very clear here. There is no bigger Assange activist that I know than the crew over at MCSC Network. And they do not get the credit that they deserve. Misty, Glory, all of them from Slow News Day, Franco, Nico, the Convo Couch, all of them. You want to talk about die-hard Assange activists? Misty talks about Assange every day, does videos, goes to protest. Those are activists. People a lot of times look back and see them just as podcasters. They're not just podcasters. No bigger Assange activists I know than that crew. And they're the ones that should be given the attention about it. But because we have so many egos in this space, and we have so many people who feel like you gotta be on their level, you have to have so many subs, you have to play their game, you have to be in their clique in order to talk about it. This is why we can't come together. This is a problem. Thank you so much, Kyle, for the super sticker. Thank you so much. I didn't want to miss that. I appreciate that. This is a problem that we have. We can't come together on anything. We couldn't come together on Force the Vote. We can't come together on Julian. You got Vosh and Hassan Piker out there smearing. Oh, I'm going to talk about them tonight on my show. You got them out there smearing Julian. Now, they're supposed to be leftists. Hassan is supposed to be a socialist. But you out here smearing a journalist. And then you get kicked off Twitch. Now you want to go on Majority Report and you want to whine about it. But you was just against a journalist who has been tortured for telling the truth. They have censored him. Now that has happened to him, do you guys see what I mean? Some of these people who say they're leftists are not on the left. They're left when it's convenient. And it's usually people who are rich. That is my take on that. This is why we can't get things done. This is why we can't accomplish anything. This is why we do not win. Too many egos. Too many platitudes. Some people just doing it just to do it. Don't really have to fight for anything because they already have everything. Some people don't want to do it because there's someone that's going to be there that they don't like or they don't agree with. That's how small this world is. That's how small it is. And I'll say it again, on the left, we are not big. We are small. The United States is a conservative country. Guys, I've lived in these red states. Even the blue states I've lived in are not left. Most of them are liberal at best. So it's a problem. It's a problem. And if you're okay with that, you're okay with torture and what's happening to him, you are not a leftist. Stop playing, stop acting. The show is over. Go home. Close the curtain. That's my take on that. Now, I am going to show you something pretty cool. If you want more Sabby, you can get more Sabby. It's Fridays. It's double Sabby night. I am going to be talking about one of the things I just told you. It's going to be a pretty interesting night. I do have a friend stopping by who most of you know and like. Tonight, I'm talking about Glenn Greenwald versus Sam Cedar and Hassan Piker. I don't know if you follow Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, but if you don't, you probably should. Oh, wait, that's me. You probably should, because he really has like nailed it, like hit the nail on the head with some of the fake left. So I'm going to talk about that tonight. I'm also going to talk about Ben Affleck blames Jennifer Garner. This is not about their relationship. This is about a statement that Ben Affleck made. I don't usually talk about celebrities, but he made a statement about addiction that I think needs to be discussed. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Baskin Robbins strike. So that is what is going on tonight. I also have the Ethnic Women's Liberation panel is all set. I'm going to introduce those panelists to you tonight, so you'll get to see who's going to be on that panel. That starts Sunday. That's going to happen once a month. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I told you guys I wanted to see a panel that had like women of color. I waited. I'm also impatient. So I decided to do it myself. So that's what's going to happen. And this is what we're going to have to do sometimes, guys, in this space. Sometimes we're going to have to do things ourselves, because let's be real. I told you we have a class divide on the left. And some of the people who are at the top of this class, they are not trying to do these things. They are comfortable. They are chill. They got their money a long time ago, and they are really not trying to fight for a damn thing. Let's just be real. That's my time. It's 7:01. I got to go. Love you guys. Catch me later at 8 o'clock on Sabby Sabs. Have a good night and keep up the fight.